Absolutely. So Chris is a student that he actually finished his project so early that he had so many ideas for modifications, and I'm really happy with the one he chose. I'm very excited for him to get to show you that. So let's just get straight into it. I think Chris can take it from here.
All right. Yeah, I'll go ahead. So hi, my name is Chris. You guys probably already know that. But I also go to Limbrook, and I'll be graduating in 2023. So I'm a rising junior. And the project that I chose for this 3-week term of Bluestamp is the Third Eye for the Blind. You guys can see that right here. All right. So the Third Eye for the Blind, put simply, it's a device that helps the blind navigate around their surroundings. And I chose it because I was told it had kind of like a 50-50 mix between hardware and software. So I thought that was interesting. I didn't want too much software in my project because, I'm not too good at coding. And I also chose it because it was a practical and helpful looking project, right? It's a device that helps people, helps the blind to be specific. And the basic generic project was just one that had an ultrasonic sensor that would send forth signals, get it back, and then when something got too close, a buzzer would buzz, a vibrating motor would vibrate, and an LED would flash. But at Bluestamp, right, we make modifications to make the products our own. So the modifications that I chose were to add a temperature sensor and to remove the LED. The temperature sensor I just thought was another useful sensor to have, right? Because obviously blind people can feel the temperature still. However, just in case, yeah, better safe than sorry. Just in case they got too close to anything hot, the temperature sensor would also communicate that and the buzzer would sound. I removed the LED because the person's blind. So I'm not exactly sure what the LED would be signaling to or who would be reading the signal. So I just thought that was kind of um, useless. And so now I guess I'll show it in action with a video. If I'll just share my screen here. Okay. So here's my Third Eye Project demo. You put it on with the zip tie and you power it with this battery right here, connecting to this blue wire. Oh, and you can hold the battery in your hand, and when you get close to something, it'll start beeping. And this temperature sensor will sense high temperatures, but I don't have anything like that at the ready. So, yeah, yippee, quick demo. Okay, so yeah, you guys saw that in action, and oh, yeah, okay. Now, I guess I'll show you guys the code, right? That's like most of the hardware. Now you can take a look at the behind the scenes stuff. So I won't go too much into detail because that's boring. So in the beginning, we introduced the DHT library, which DHT is the temperature sensor that I use. It's called the DHT22 to be exact. And here, there's all these pins. Like the Echo pin is a pin from the ultrasonic sensor, and I just declared that it would be attached to the Arduino pin digital pin 13. So that's that. Just declaring some stuff. Then here we start the process for the temperature sensor. Right, we tell it to begin. We set the trig pin as output, echo pin as input for the ultrasonic sensor. And here, all of this is all to do with the ultrasonic sensor. It's just telling the trig pin to send out a signal, to the echo pin to receive a signal, and then they calculate the distance. And here we use the read temperature function of the DHT library to get the temperature. And then the very important if statement. So if the distance we got was 30 centimeters or closer, or if the temperature is 65 degrees Celsius or higher, which is really hot, then the buzzer will buzz and analog write. This part right here is to send a signal to the vibrating motor and tell it to vibrate. Now the vibrating motor that I got used 3 volts of power. So the Arduino did not supply that. Instead, the Arduino only supplied 3.3 and 5. So using analog write, just not too many details, but using this number right here, 153, I converted that 5 volts of power into 3 volts. So it was compatible with the vibrating motor. And this else statement right here is just to make sure that anytime the the vibrating motor is not activated in this if statement, it's given 0 power. This 255 actually means 0 power, which is kind of counterintuitive, but that's the way it goes. So yeah, that's the code. And challenges were like the hardest part I had to work with, I guess I could say, was the vibrating motor, as I had just mentioned. And that's because the vibrating motor came with these 2 really, really thin wires. You couldn't plug them immediately into the Arduino. So it was suggested to me by my instructor to solder them to a jumper cable. So then I could use the jumper cables to put it in. But soldering was definitely a new experience for me, and that was a challenge. And also the coding, as I mentioned before, is kind of counterintuitive, but we got over that relatively quickly. And I think Brandon also said this, but like Brandon, my favorite part of this project was just being able to see my own progress, however little it may be, but just seeing the progress with my own eyes. Um, it was just really rewarding. And one particular milestone that I had in mind was when I had my ultrasonic sensor, my buzzer, but like just those two things. But when I tested it and the buzzer started buzzing, I was like pretty happy, you know? I was like, yay, I got the basic outline of my project and it's working. And so, yeah, I learned that engineering can be very rewarding at times like that. And that through engineering, we can also help people, right, with projects big or small that help, that better the lives of the people around us. And so, just talking a bit about how this might affect my interesting career paths. So, I live in Silicon Valley, so everything has always been rather engineering oriented. However, with Bluestamp, my interest in engineering has genuinely kind of gone up because I've got to experience what it's like to work on an engineering project. Although it was only for 3 weeks, I got to experience what it was like. And so now with that experience, I might have an idea of what I want to do in the future. So yeah, but that's it. Thank you. And any questions?
I have a question again.
Yes, go ahead.
When the heat sensor would go off, like the thermometer, does that do something different, or is it also just beep the same way the distance sensor would?
It's the same way. It just sends in signal. Yeah.
Okay. Anyone
I have
else
a
have any
question.
questions?
Yeah, I have a question as well. Was it very difficult to integrate two different methods of making the buzzer go off, or was it about the same as just doing one method of indication?
Like I thought it would be hard. No, I thought it would be simple. And then I thought about it more and I thought it'd be really difficult, but then I actually did it and it was relatively simple. So short answer, yeah, it was not too much more work. Yeah.
Okay.